Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. Today I am bringing to you a study video. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at pro bets, float bets, and defending pro bets as well. So this past weekend, I did a deep analysis of my database to find some of my leaks, and two of my biggest leaks were pro bets and float bets. So, these types of bets you're supposed to be doing about roughly 80% of the time, and I was doing about 50% of the time. And to be honest with you, I really didn't know too much about these types of bets, so really, I was doing them more by accident than doing them on purpose. And these are just a great way to get some profit from players who are folding too much to these types of bets. So anyway, just to explain first what each of these bets are, a pro bet is a bet on the turn at a position when the pre-flop raiser declines to c-bet the flop. So, you're at a position, you check, and your opponent checks back. He was a pre-flop raiser. Now you're going to throw out a bet on the turn, and you can do this with almost any two cards. Then you have a float bet. So a float bet is kind of the opposite. You're in position, and your opponent is a pre-flop raiser, and he declines to c-bet. Then you could bet to take down a pot. And a lot of times, your opponent's going to fold in these spots. And then the other thing that I was looking at was defending pro bets. So in the case where I'm the pre-flop raiser and I don't c-bet on the flop, and now my opponent throws a pro bet at me, I'm looking at what I am defending with here. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be looking through hands. Let me just close this down. So I'm going to be looking through hands. These are hands from this year, and I just sorted it by date. And I'm just going to go through each of these hands, and I am going to point out whether I should have pro bet, float bet, or defend. So we're going to go through these quickly. It's not going to be a deep analysis, and let's just get to it. So first we have here ace-4 suited, and let's see. And all these pots here that I'm showing are heads-up pots as well. So here I open raise here from the button, and we get a call. So I'm the pre-flop raiser on this one here. I just want to mask names. Okay. Okay. So I'm the pre-flop raiser here. My opponent checks, and this is definitely a board I would not be c-betting on with my ace-4 suited. So I check back, and now an 8 comes out. My opponent bets here, very small bet of 15%. Give me 50% pot odds, so a small bet, like 1/4 size bet, about around that, I guess. So this is a spot here where I should definitely be defending. I have ace high. I can prove to ace high. He could be just throwing out a pro bet and completely bluffing here as well. So I definitely want to call here, but I fold. So here I missed an opportunity to defend against a pro bet. If I bet here and he checks, I could take it down with ace high, or I could even bluff, or maybe I hit an ace and I get a pair of aces. So there's a spot here I definitely want to call. I should not be folding in this spot. Next up, we have 10-9 suited from the button, and we call. And here our opponent declines to c-bet. So this is a spot here that I would definitely want to float and really just bet any two cards and expect to get a fold here. Now what's even better is we have a gut shot. So this is a spot, no matter what, I should be throwing out a float bet, and I do, which is great. Pretty big bet too, which is fine. That's actually good because we have a gut shot. We don't have a pair, so we're really trying to get a fold here, and he folds. So that's perfect. This is good execution of a float bet. Here we have king-2 suited from the big blinds, and we call. So obviously this is a mistake. We know that. I think this. He was under the gun, middle position, but I'm not going to focus on those types of plays right now. What I want to focus on is pro bets and float bets and the defense. So here we get top pair, which is good. So of course we're going to check to the pre-flop raiser, and he checks back. So there's a spot here that we can bet, or we could even check here too. In a spot like this where we have top pair, actually checking is perfectly fine. Our hand isn't really that vulnerable here. But I do decide to throw out a bet, and I throw out a pretty big bet, and he folds. So this is one of those spots where actually you don't have to pro bet. Now you could always pro bet. There's nothing wrong about always pro betting, but you know, if we're only pro betting about 80% of the time, that means there can be some kind of hands that we're not going to. And this is the perfect type of hand to check and possibly induce a bluff. And if not, we're just definitely checking on the river. Here we have ace king from the button, and we get 3-bet and we call it. He checks to us, so definitely this is a spot we definitely want to bet here. Our hand is, of course, is always going to be vulnerable. It's not too vulnerable, of course, but he could always hit a set or something like that. We don't want to decline betting here in this spot. So we throw out a half-pot bet, which I think is perfectly fine, perfect sizing. Could even go a little bit lower with it not being a very drawy texture, very dry board. And of course he folds. So as you see a lot of guys folding here because a lot of guys are playing their hands and they're not playing ranges and they're not playing any kind of strategy, especially at the micro stakes. Here we're going to open raise from under the gun. So here, obviously, I don't know what I was doing here from the small blind, ace queen offsuit. You know, these hands were played back in January, so I wasn't really that great yet. I wasn't that good actually yet in January, which is kind of surprised. That's actually disappointing I did that. But anyway, you might see some kind of stuff in this video like that. Just understand that these hands were played back in January. Still no excuse, I mean, because these hands, yeah, that's really no excuse. I don't know what I did there. Anyway, let's not beat myself up too much. Whatever, maybe it was a misclick. So anyway, here to the pre-flop raiser, we're going to check, and he decides to bet here, and we decide to call. So I mean, of course, his hand's a complete mess already because we should have 3-bet. But I mean, we definitely should call here with the ace queen. 9 comes out, we check, he checks back. So this is an interesting spot for a river pro bet because once he bets and then he does not bet on the turn, this is a spot that we really could bet any 2 cards as a bluff and expect him to fold most of the time. We don't, of course, do that here, and he checks back, and he just had a worse ace, so he definitely would have folded. But what's good about putting that bet in there is, let's say he has something like, you know, a pair of anything worse than a pair of kings, he may fold that. You know, a pair of 8s, pair of 7s might fold here if we throw out a bet. And of course, if he folds, you know, there's nothing wrong, you know, getting, you know, somebody to fold, and you have ace queen. So with you know, just ace high. Okay, so here from the middle position we have ace 10 suited. We receive a 3-bet over there from the small blind, which is the correct play, of course, for him. Here we get top pair. He goes all in here, so this is probably not a great. Obviously, this is not a great. This doesn't really apply. Okay, next hand. We are in the big blind, and of course we called our 3s. He checks, so this is a spot I definitely should be betting here as a float bet. Unfortunately, I do not do that. We get a set, which is great, of course. Hopefully I raise it here, I do. He calls it. Worked out well, of course. But the bottom line is, you know, we're not worried about the results. The process is I 100% should have bet right here. Okay, next up here we have ace 10 suited from the cutoff. And we get 3-bet by the button. Of course, we're going to call this here. We check, and he checks back. 5 comes out, so definitely a spot here that we want to bet. You know, our hand is kind of vulnerable to any kind of, you know, king or queen that may come out here. So a half-pot bet would be the right play here. I check here, and that's not good. I definitely should have bet there as a pro bet, half-pot. 4 comes out, it goes check, check, and I take it down. And you know what? The problem is here, who knows? Maybe I will get ace queen to bet here. Probably ace queen would bet here. I don't think ace queen is folding in this spot, and I missed out on some potential value. You know, because then what would have happened on the river? It can go check, check. Here we have 5-7. Or even if it goes check and he bets, and I could always call too, you know, and then get more value. So I completely missed out on value in that hand by not throwing out the pro bet. You know, because the pro bet isn't just for bluffing and getting people to fold. You could also potentially get value as well. So here, of course, we call a 5-7. This is from the big blind, and we land 2 pair. Our opponent bets, and we're definitely going to call here. We check again, and he checks back. So this is again another situation here where we should absolutely now be throwing out a river probe bet here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. We don't want to do a river probe bet here. Because of the fact we have third pair, we could actually just check it here and just hope it goes check, check, and we take it down. Because sometimes we could definitely win with a 5 here. And that's what we did. So actually, check, check is the right play there. Okay, here we have ace-8 with a pre-flop raiser. Definitely not going to be c-betting here. 7 comes out. Our opponent throws out a probe bet. It's a pot-sized bet. Even with a pot-sized bet, we could definitely call here with the ace-high. And we fold though. So this here, even to the pot-sized bet, we should definitely call. Because then when he checks the river, we can then bluff the river and win the pot. Here we have ace-jack offsuit. I missed. Okay, so we were the pre-flop raiser. Our opponent checks to us here, and you know, this board we're definitely going to check back. So I c-bet there. I don't like the c-bet. Now our opponent checks here, and I mean this is definitely now a double barrel, and we missed out on the double barrel. That was bad for us. I don't like that. And a 4 comes out. He bets to us, and we fold. Yeah, I kind of missed on where the probe and the float was on here. Let me go back and just look at this hand one more time, because I didn't like how this hand went down. Anyway, he checks, and we're the pre-flop raiser. He checks. I guess they call on that. I think this hand is misclassified through the filter. But anyway, I don't like how the hand was played at all. Okay, anyway. Here we call the king jack to the 3.4 big blind raise from the cutoff. Our opponent bets to us here, a pot size bet. We have top pair, so definitely in a call. Our opponent bets again, and I don't see any reason for us not to continue calling. And now a 6 comes out. Our opponent checks. So this is definitely a spot that, you know, this would be considered a float opportunity to bet here on the river. But since we have top pair, we're just going to, of course, just check behind here, because we're never going to expect to get called by worse. And, you know, we don't want to fold out worse. It makes no sense. So check behind, and we take it down. Okay. Here we call from the big blind with jack-8 suited. And here we have a backdoor flush draw. We check. Our opponent checks back. Okay, so this is definitely a spot where we want to throw out a probe bet. Our hand is definitely vulnerable here, as he could still have a king or something like that. He could also have a flush draw. So I like to throw out. I like to see myself throw out like a 2/3, 3/4 pot bet here. Unfortunately, I don't. I do miss the opportunity to throw out a probe bet, and he bets, and I end up folding third pair. So this was definitely a missed opportunity, and he just bet half pot here, so he might have been completely bluffing since I missed my probe bet opportunity. So a bet there would have been the best play. And by the way, if I bet there and he calls, I definitely want to bet the river as well. Because a lot of times you'll get guys and they will call the turn probe bet, but then fold to the follow-up river bet. Here we have ace jack offsuit from the button, and there's a 3 bet here, and we call it. We get top pair. So here, yeah, we definitely throw out the float bet. This is definitely a proper bet here. Our opponent raises us here. So the raise is actually this is a really interesting raise, because we have the ace of diamonds, so we know that there's a good chance he doesn't have the nut flush draw. He could still have something like that, but this is also a 3 bet pot here, so it's more likely that he has like an overpair here. Hopefully I end up folding this. Oh, I called it. I bet you he has an overpair. 10 comes out. He goes all in. And now we definitely got to fold. Yeah, that was a bad. Oh, he ended up having ace jack. How about that? Still, I think the right play there would have been the fold. Turns out the guy was kind of crazy, I guess. All right, here we go. Here's Queen 3 suited from the big blind. We get a check, so this is definitely a spot we want to flip bet with here. We do. Our opponent calls. He checks again. Again, we want to throw out another flip bet. Our hand's even gotten better now with a flush draw. We throw out the bet and he folds. A lot of people don't like seeing bets twice in a row either. They just want to see one card and then they give up. Here we got pair of 9s from the button. Opponent checks. We should definitely throw out a float bet here. We missed out on that opportunity. Now he bets into us, and we call with the 9s. I'm glad at least we didn't fold, but now when he bets again, we have to fold here. So maybe we missed out. What did he end up having? King 7. See, look, he had King 7. If we would have done the flip bet there, guaranteed he's going to fold on the flop. Here we got 10-10. Our opponent checks. Who was the pre-flop raiser here? I missed out. We were. Okay. 10-10. Our opponent checks. On this particular board here, we should definitely be c-betting 10-10 here. Definitely missed out on an opportunity. 7 comes out. He throws out a pro bet, and we should definitely be calling his pro bet here. We do. And 8 comes out. He follows up with a second bet here. And this becomes a situation. This is definitely a tough situation. Whether we should be calling second pair or not, but he's only betting half pot. But he could also have a straight here as well. I guess we should probably fold his hand here because he could have a straight here with any 9, any 4. He could have flushes as well. The half pot bet isn't great. We do block 10-9, which is good. But if he's I think I probably just end up calling this here, even with the 10s. Let's see what he had. He had 9. He did have a straight. Yeah, but again, this, maybe he's not calling with a gut shot. If I just make that a c bet, I definitely missed out on a c bet there. If not, I did call it. I think I'm just making that call there. That's something I'd like to look at. See if that's the right call or not. I mean, to the half pot bet, but there's so much there that beats me, though. I guess that's the only problem. Is you ever betting with anything worse than 10s there? Only if he's bluffing. And there really weren't many bluffs there on that board. All of his draws got there. So yeah, we should have folded the 10s. Here we have 7-6 from the cutoff. Small blind calls. He checks. Definitely we're going to check back here. 8 comes out. Now we have a gut shot, which is great. He throws out a bet, so we definitely want to call here. That's good. So we defended the pro bet well. We had a gut shot, so it makes it even better. And a 2 comes out. He checks, so this is definitely a spot where we really should be bluffing. There's no way we're ever going to win this pot without bluffing here, especially when he declines to bet. So we definitely missed that opportunity. We should have absolutely bluffed there, and we would have took down the pot on the bluff. Here we get 10s and we 3-bet. And we get 4-bet and we call the 4-bet. He declines to check. This is definitely a spot we absolutely want to bet 100% of the time. We did. And he shoves all in. And at that point when he shoves all in, I think we can fold our 10s. We called it. Not the best call. And yeah, obviously. Here with a pre-flop raiser, check. This is definitely a board we should absolutely be c-betting with a backdoor flush draw. Nonetheless, he now pro bets us here, and of course with the nut flush draw, we should absolutely be calling or raising. I'd actually like to see a raise here. We just called it. I definitely would have liked to see me raise in this spot. 2 comes out. He bets, and now we're definitely going to be folding this spot. Here from the cutoff, we call the 3-bet from the button. We get top pair and a backdoor flush draw. We check. Our opponent bets. definitely going to be calling this bet here. We could raise it too here as well. I don't mind a raise here with the backdoor flush draw as well. But definitely, especially having the top pair too. I don't mind raising there. If we have any idea that our opponent might actually fold, of course. 2 comes out, we check, our opponent checks, and now king comes out. This is obviously a spot that we should be throwing out a river pro bet. We should not be checking here, and I think we throw out about a half pot. We could throw out about a half pot to 2/3 pot bet here, and hope to get called by by a worse pair, maybe by a pair of jacks or a pair of pair of kings or something like that calls us. But we check, so that was, I don't like how I played that. Definitely should have bet there. Don't know why I didn't. And yeah, ace jack would have definitely called us. So we definitely lost value here in his hand. Here I have ace king. We open it up. Jack jack queen. He checks to us. Definitely a spot we should be c-betting. We declined to c-bet, so that was not a good job. 2 comes out. Our opponent throws out an overbet here. Absolutely, even versus the overbet, we should 100% of the time be calling this bet here. With the ace high, our hand can improve. We got 2 overs, plus we have a gut shot, and we folded. So I don't like that as well. I don't like that at all. Here with a pre-flop raise with 8-8, our opponent checks. So this spot here, where are we? We are middle position. So what do we see betting with? We see betting with sets of kings, sets of queens, sets of fives. We're see betting with 2 pair king queen. We don't have any king fives. We don't have any queen fives. We have some open enders that we could be see betting here. We don't have too many combos here. I think 8-8. I'd have to double check, but I think 8-8 could be a check here. So he checks, we check. I think 8-8 would probably be an acceptable check here because we have enough value hands with the sets. We have we don't have ace. Actually, you know what? 8-8 probably should be a bet here. 7-7 through Jack-Jack probably should be a bet here because we only have 1 over with the aces. So yeah, this actually should be a bet. Anyway, I checked. Now my opponent throws out a pot-sized pro bet, and I should definitely be calling here with my 8s, but I folded them up. Okay, here king 6 from the big blind. We got middle pair. Our opponent checks, and we should definitely be betting here. And our opponent folds. Ace 10 from the button. We bump it up. Get a call from the small blinds. Here we got second pair. We would a pre-flop raiser here. Definitely should be betting second pair here as a c-bet. We check back, so I don't like that. We missed out, definitely. 8 comes out, and our opponent throws out a pot-sized bet. And I mean, we should definitely be calling this here with second pair and an ace. We do call it, so that's good. Queen comes out. He throws out a huge bet here, and now is the spot where you can absolutely fold here. We want to fold to this kind of aggression. He's representing, I mean, he's kind of representing a straight here, but he could also have a pair of kings or a pair of queens that he's really betting pretty big here. Maybe he has 2 pair like king queen. He could also have. I guess if he had Jack 9, he has a straight now. So there are so many hands that he could be repping here that we lose to, and so I think he's definitely repping some kind of straight is quite possible here. So we got to fold this, and we do. Here we call from the big blind with 10s. We check. He checks. Jack comes out. Definitely should be throwing out a pro bet here. We missed out on that opportunity. So it goes check, check. 8, again, we really should just be betting here. We don't. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Again, the 10s, actually, we don't want to bet here. We can just check and hope it goes check, check. That's one spot that I sometimes get confused about. But as you can see, if we would have just bet on the turn. See, if we just bet on the turn here, we're getting king, queen to fold. And what happens now if a king or a queen comes out in the river, we have screwed ourselves by not throwing out the bet on the turn. Here we open raise with ace jack, get a small 3-bet, so we're definitely going to call. Top pair. He bets into us. Of course, we're definitely going to call this. A 4 comes out, so that's actually, not the best since we don't have any kind of clubs here. But when our opponent checks to us here, definitely want to throw out a float bet and just bet here. We missed out definitely on an opportunity. If we bet he raises, we could always fold, but there's a good chance if he doesn't have a club, he's absolutely folding here when we throw out a bet, throw out a float bet. Now if 3 comes out, he checks, and of course we're just going to check behind here. So he had ace-ace. We weren't going to get him to fold, but it doesn't matter. The right play would have absolutely been the bet there. Who knows? Actually, we shouldn't say he wouldn't have folded. He might have still absolutely folded. Look how timid he was. So he might have folded. We might have gotten him to fold his aces there if we would throw out the float bet. We can't say guarantee that we wouldn't have. He could have folded those aces without having the club thinking he lost. Some people will fold aces. Here we get 10-9. We would do open razor. We are definitely not c-betting this board, so we check back. 8 comes out here, 8 of diamonds, completing flush draws. Our opponent throws out a bet. Definitely here in this spot, defending wise. So this is a spot we could actually really fold. We're not really going to improve on this hand at all. I mean, what do we got? I mean, we have a gut shot actually. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We do have a gut shot. All right, yeah, we should call this. We folded. We actually should have called it. We should have called it. Then if he checks, we could always bluff the river with the gut shot. We want to at least be able to make some kind of hand, even if it's even if right now we have air or no draws. We have an ace, especially when we have an ace. Okay, here we call. Should 3-bet, of course. Backdoor nut flush draw. Our opponent bets into us here, pot size bet. So here in this spot, we definitely should be calling this. We do. 8 comes out. Our opponent checks. This would be a perfect spot to throw out a float bet. We missed out on that opportunity. Now a 7 comes out, and it's just going to go check, check, and we'll try and take it down with a raise high. But we definitely missed out on an opportunity. We bet here. It's a very good chance that we might be able to get his pair of 9s to fold. And if not, then we get value if a spade comes out and we hit our flush. Not saying he would have called it, but still. Okay, look at a couple more hands here. Okay, here we call the 3-bet with ace-queen suited. Our opponent checks. This is definitely a float bet spot here. We want to throw out a bet with our backdoor nut flush draw. So we missed out on an opportunity there. 7 comes out. Our opponent checks. Again, we should absolutely be betting this here. But we missed out on another opportunity to bet. And a 4 comes out, and it goes check, check. And he shows ace-9. So, we could have easily just bet, and it's okay to get him to fold air, because we fold air, we win. We're leaving him in the pot. We don't have anything. We could lose this pot. Might as well just go for it, especially when we don't have anything. Here we call Jack 3 suited from the big blind. We check, and our opponent bets, and we have a backdoor flush draw. So out of position here, actually, I'm actually okay just folding this here out of position as the caller. I don't think calling right here, I don't really feel like is the best play. What position were we in again? We were in the big blind versus cutoff. I mean, actually, here we do have a huge range here. So actually, I did look at this spot last night, and actually, backdoor flush draws we are calling here actually. So what are the odds we got? Yeah, we got half pot bet by him. So yeah, we can call that. Now it goes check, check. So here to the queen, perfect spot for a river, a big bet here. We want to throw like a nice big bet here, a nice big river pro bet here as a bluff. I'd like to see even like a pot-sized bet. Of course, that does not happen because I've been missing these spots. I checked, and he bets, and he could be betting anything here and bluff, bluff us off this pot. Obviously, we had nothing. We definitely had to bet there. We definitely missed out. But we want to definitely want to do a big bet there. Pot size bet, maybe even an over bet there. Here we call 7-7 from middle position versus the ends of the gun open. I don't really like that. Would rather, if I'm going to bet 7-7 there, to 3-bet this guy. Anyway, although 7-7 just really isn't even a great. I don't think 7-7 I really want to be playing. Let me see. Um, yeah, 7-7 really should be a fold here, but that's beside the point. Anyway, our opponent decides to check here. So this is obviously a spot we definitely want to throw out a float bet. We missed out on that opportunity. And now a 5 comes out. Check again. We definitely want to bet here. We don't again. And now 5 comes out, so now we have a full house. He decides to bet pot to us, and of course we just got to call this. And he lost to his flush. So this is, I mean, look at this, huh? Right? So we missed out on such a golden opportunity here. Now maybe he would have raised us here, and we never would have saw our full house. But you know, I think we definitely need to be betting that turn. If he raises us and we fold, so be it. We don't get a full house, but I don't like the way that like the way it was played. So we'll look at one more hand here, and we got King 3 from the big blind, King 3 suited. Our opponent bets into us. Definitely want to be calling the to this bet right here. I wouldn't mind actually seeing a raise here as well. Maybe doing like a big raise, maybe even like an overbet raise here versus one big blind bet with the backdoor flush draw. But either way, we just called it. Now we do get a pair of 3s. He checks, and this spot here we just can throw out like a half pot float bet here. We just check back. I don't like that. Definitely need to bet there. Now the ace comes out, and should just go check. And he ends up having an ace. So there you go. If we bet there on the turn, he's folding ace 4. So we definitely missed out on that opportunity to take down the pot, and he ends up winning it. There you go. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on pro bets and float bets. This is my focus for the week, to try and nail down this skill. It's a definitely very profitable skill, these types of bets, and definitely, as you can see just from this video, how much extra win rate I've been losing by not placing these types of bets. So yeah, good stuff. Hey, by the way, I'd like to thank you guys. I'm up to 100 subscribers. That's pretty freaking incredible. I appreciate everybody's support, everybody who makes comments on the videos. It means a lot to me. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. I appreciate it. Click the like button. And until next time, PokeDad out.